It's Acoustic Stevo, the crypto bard, making his way into the cryptoverse. Join me on my journey. Let's have some fun. Alright. I listened to something that kind of intrigued me today and spurred me wanting to make a live stream. And it's basically a breakdown video of Mikenactors about a video that Onision posted that starts out with a portion of it discussing free speech, and that's the portion that I'm gonna react to. So I'm making a reaction live stream to a reaction live stream, I guess. Fair use. This video is about fair use, and it's gonna have my opinions, not just opinions, but what I believe to be the whole kit and caboodle about fair use, and I'm going to use this discussion as my way of saying what I've got to say about it. Now, I'm going to try to set some stuff up real quick before I start driving, so just bear with me. There we go. I'm trying to turn this off. Let's put my profile picture there. Alright. Oh, this is pretty cool. Hey, Gemma, I guess you're in right now. Welcome. I'm gonna get out of this real quick and get this going. So, here we go. I'm gonna hit play and I'm gonna go ahead and make this video, this live stream.
I think that is good. We are going to be looking at a video by Onision today. I'm not actually playing Sims. This is the only way that I can stream, because I've spent all morning trying to set up OBS or OTS, and then I was on YouNow, and it's just not working. So we're going to do it on here. So not playing streams. We're not playing Sims. Don't get excited. That's good. I'm glad it sounds good.
So, there's a little bit of him talking right now just before this gets started, so I'm just going to let him talk. So I apologize that there's not really much more of me making something into this beginning of his live stream, but really there isn't much to say, so I'm just going to let it play.
I'm glad it sounds good. Alright. Well, shit. Here we go.
Hey guys, you know that phrase, go big or go home? Well, I'm tired of going home.
What does that even mean? You're tired of going home, so you want to go big.
Right.
Is that what's happening here?
Yep.
Does abusing the copyright system, does that constitute as going big?
I believe that is what he's referring to, in kind of a cryptic way. We shall see.
I didn't realize we were doing a dick measuring contest. Like, I didn't know that is what we were doing on the base level. If we reduce it down to its base level, it's just a dick measuring contest. That's what this is. That's all this is.
So, from now on, I'm going to try to go as big as I can for most every single video that I do.
I thought that's always what Onision did. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about Onision before we really get into this, and I'm just going to let you know what my relationship is to his content. It's very minuscule and at the periphery. I watched maybe 10 of his comedy videos. I thought they were pretty funny. I know he does a lot of opinion type stuff, and really, honestly, I haven't watched it on his actual channels. So anytime I'm exposed to Onision, it's through other people just, talking about his content, and I kind of want to keep it that way, because I'm not really that interested in Onision, because I've kind of heard enough to know that he pretty much spews a bunch of nonsense, and he talks in circles, and he contradicts himself constantly, and it's just not something I want to waste my time on. However, he's talking here about something that I think is very important, and what he's saying is such garbage that I really have to say something about it. As a free speech advocate, I have to say something about it. So that's kind of my relationship with Onision's content. Now, I do follow him on Twitter, and I like interacting with his tweets. Sometimes he says stupid things, and I respond and say what I've got to say. Sometimes he says things I agree with. I don't think he's a horrible person. I just think he has a lot of maturing to do. A lot of maturing to do. And that's not a big deal. It is what it is. But I mainly am making this live stream because he's full of crap when it comes to his viewpoint on fair use and what it actually is. So, like I said, as a freedom of speech advocate, I had to make this video.
So recording videos in your shack next to some lakelands, which is a recurring motif in your work, that constitutes as going big.
And that means a lot of, crazy stuff for you. But today, we're going to discuss a lot of things. We're going to discuss copyrights. We're going to discuss a creepy stalker who...
Oh, here we go. Here's the thing. Onision, not only did he just get outed for having a sock account, if you watch my latest video, which has been demonetized, thanks YouTube. If you watch my latest video, basically I show proof that that was a sock account. So, the thing...
If anyone comes across this video and they want to explain what a sock account is to me, please do so. I'd appreciate it. I have a guess, but I'm not really sure. I think a sock account is like a fake account that you set up to do like things that you wouldn't put your normal account in jeopardy by doing. And so it's like a way you can covertly do like crappy things to people, basically. You created a sock account. I have never looked it up, but just hearing about it, that's kind of the definition I've compiled in my mind. So if somebody knows, just please let me know if I'm right about that. I'd appreciate it.
Is with Onision is that he will call anyone who critiques him a stalker. He called Joy Sparkle BS a stalker. He's called me a stalker. He's called Repsion a stalker.
Yes.
He can't take criticism.
Definitely not.
And because he can't take criticism, and he has to go with this idea of, oh, we have to go big. His idea of big is abusing YouTube's copyright system. I don't care, like, who you are. Like, that is something that I would just never do. I would never do it. At any point. There was nothing that would make me do it, or nothing would ever get so bad for me that I would do that. I've had people critique me before, and I take it in good stead, you know? Apart from Repsion, like, I reacted really badly to that. I think that whole situation was really bad. That was a learning experience. So it just astounds me. He still goes with the stalker narrative. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I'm not really into this part of the video. I'm waiting. I'm
Onision
kind
videos
of
were never
patiently
about,
waiting for them to get into the fair use
trying to
section.
bully Greg.
So I apologize.
To harass him.
We'll get there eventually.
Trying to stalk him. They are simply a critique of the thoughts that he puts out onto the internet. And every single video that I've made about him has fallen under fair use. As has been the case with Repsion, Blair White, any number of these people.
Okay, I will say a little bit about this. I don't think you can really be a stalker online, because I think stalker means that you, like, show up in someone's life, like, straight up, like, into their life. So maybe you could, like, I guess there's some description of Onision having people in his family contacted by these people online that he's calling stalkers, I'd agree that's stalker, because they show up into your life. But someone just commenting on your content is definitely not stalker. It could be a troll. It could be a reoccurring troll, or somebody that's just fascinated by you. Maybe some degree of obsession's going on. But stalker, maybe they sit around and wait for you to post your content, and they're like on it like Donkey Kong. But even that's not stalker. That's just somebody that has an obsession, really. So, I mean, Onision does this thing where he uses vocabulary words as dog whistles. Like, they're not really appropriate for what's really going on. He just kind of says these things that have more emotional baggage behind them to kind of generate more energy, really. And it's really easy to see that that's his tactic. So I really just think him using the word stalker is more of that most of the time. I mean, unless he's actually talking about a stalker.
He's tried to have a debate with me twice, and he's failed to show up both times. We didn't even get to the point where I was online waiting for him.
Alright, I'm going to talk a little bit about Mikenactor right now. Now, Mikenactor, I am subscribed to his channel, and I do like his content. And the reason why I like his content is that he's very thorough in what he takes on to talk about. He goes through and dissects everything. And someone like me, that's right up my alley. It just is. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I think he's a caring person, just from what I can see of him. I think that he has a lot of integrity. He stands behind his friends. There's a lot of reasons why I enjoy Mikenactor. But this whole thing he's talking about, you know, his Onision interaction stuff, I could really kind of care less about all that. And most of his Onision videos I don't even watch. That's probably where he gets most of his views, but not for me personally. But this one I actually like. If it's an Onision video and it's long like this one, normally I would just skip it. But because this one is about something I care about, this is right up my alley, like for something to actually view. You know, I'm not really viewing though, I'm listening, but you know what I mean. So, if you've never seen Mikenactor, he's he does different types of things. He's almost kind of like a variety channel. He does music. I am always into people that do music. He does creative, like, unique, weird videos that are just kind of really just unique and strange, and I enjoy that type of stuff as well. And then he does commentary stuff on a number of different topics, pretty much anything that strikes his fancy to talk about. And I like that. I like when people are being real about what they think about the things around them, and they put a lot of critical thought into it. And he does just that. So if you're into that type of content, I would say check out Mikenactor's channel. That being said, I'm going to continue on.
He didn't want to wait 3 months. He didn't want to wait 2 months. He didn't want to wait a month. And he's scared. He's frightened. The reason that he's doing these copyright claims is because he knows that his career is over. He knows that he's dishonest, and there's no way.
This might all be true, but I could really care less, about
so he
trying
needs
to
play
figure
victim.
out why he's doing it.
He needs to call his.
It's the fact that he's doing it that I care about. I don't care about the why.
He's actually going to.
I mean, I have my own theory on it, and I'll say
make
why.
this okay,
but
in his mind.
Maybe it is that he's just grasping at straws, but I think it goes deeper than that. And I'll say what I think is reasonable.
Let's continue
in a moment.
Has been stalking me since the day I met my husband Kai. I'm gonna just.
No comment.
Discuss other things. I might forget some of these topics. I might not even mention them later on.
The thing I was going to mention before also is the reason that he's put Eugenia Cooney in this video, or he's discussing Eugenia.
I don't even know who Eugenia Cooney is. Like, I've heard of her. I think
because people don't want to touch that subject,
kind of like
right?
Disparaged her about her body. I guess she's had,
so he's tactically placing Eugenia Cooney.
So he's made like videos, kind of tearing down.
But he's tactically placing Eugenia in the title of this video,
life choices,
so that no other look.
And that's really all I know about her.
He's doing that on purpose. He's putting her in the title on purpose to antagonize.
Of course he is.
Work.
Of course he is.
But I also want to talk about how my life is a mess. And when I say my life is a mess, I mean my whole house is like a disaster.
Shoot, man. You know, Onision tweeted out the other day, and this is the thing about Onision, you don't know if he's serious, if he's not, and that's purposeful. But he tweeted out something to the extent of, I am depressed, or something like that. And for me, when he tweeted that out the other day, I was like, I sent back that sucks, because you know what? Depression does suck. So, and I don't even know if he's serious or not. So, I'm hoping he's not. I'm hoping that he's not depressed, because that really does blow. I mean, I've been depressed. I've been around people that are depressed. It's something that's hard to pull yourself out of sometimes, and it's a part of the human experience for a lot of us, you know, dealing with depression, and, you know, I have empathy for that. So when he tweeted out, I'm depressed, I'm like, wow, that sucks. I hope he's not. So that's what I tweeted back. But then again, like, most of his tweets are disparaging all sorts of things that he has views on, which I can't really say is a bad thing. I do the same thing. I disparage YouTube all the time. By the way, hashtag I hate YouTube, hashtag freedom of speech, hashtag deplatform the deplatformers. But, you know, that's the thing about Onision. You don't know what's real and what's not, and it's purposeful. It's that way, on purpose. He even talks to that point. So I'm going to continue.
I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now. He's not wrong.
As you can see here, this makeup table is a mess. I'm showing you another thing that is a mess. And here's another thing that is a mess. And here's another thing that is a mess. And here is another thing that is a mess. And you may be wondering, like, how does your life get this way? Like, how are you constantly having to clean up everything? And the answer is this is a working thing we got going on. I'm working 24. No, that's not true. I sleep sometimes. So I'm like working, 12 to 16 hours a day.
Same.
Yep, same.
Same,
for sure.
We don't all have the luxury of one job, Greg. Some of us have 3.
And even some of us that have that one job works that much just at that one job.
Sometimes I work right through, meaning I actually literally work for a 24-hour period because I need to get a video out. So I go to work 9 hours, come home, edit, film.
He does. Mike puts out a lot of good content.
And I play by the rules.
He does a lot of good editing, too. That's one thing I think he has
your rules,
major skills with.
Your rules, right.
Editing and
I play
sound.
I'm getting angry. I'm like, I'm almost shaking.
He's really good at it.
But that's okay. That's okay. I feel like sometimes I feel like I don't want to show my anger because that's weakness, right? That's weakness. Or that's showing someone that they're getting to me. I feel okay with that. I can feel that way. My thoughts on his opinions or the way that I gauge his opinions are so low. I just don't care what he thinks. I really don't.
How could you invest yourself
I just wish
caring
he would be
about what he thinks? It's just too much. Straight up.
Have an honest conversation.
Too much.
He uses the word honest a lot, right?
That being said, investing yourself in what I think would probably be too much as well, to be fair.
But like, it's the same thing. It's like if you, he said it himself. If people say that they're honest, it's most likely that they're not honest.
I don't know. It depends on the person. It's pretty. It's pretty easy to see when somebody's not honest. Not really about what they say, but what they do. So, you have to have a good amount of time to get to know somebody to make that distinction. But sometimes people will say that they're honest, and they really are honest. And other times, not so much.
Hey, enough is enough, and I just start throwing stuff away. That's what it's come to.
I'm so glad. Greg's becoming a minimalist. I honestly don't, like... If Greg could even slightly resemble an empathetic human being, I would try to wish him well and try to be like, dude, if you're going through a journey and you're trying to work out what you're doing and stuff like that, like, I could be entirely, like, sympathetic. But you can't do that. And the reason you can't do that is because I don't know if you don't have any empathy or you just don't understand, or if you're just a massive troll and you're just messing with everyone. But there comes a point in time where you're just like, where do you switch off? At what point in time are you actually a human being?
See, I don't care about any of this. I don't. Like,
and you're not.
I'm really hoping we can get to the fair use stuff soon.
That's what I want to know.
I don't care that Onision is
just throw stuff away. That
lost.
way, no more mess.
Lost.
You can't have a mess
up.
if you don't have stuff.
He can find himself, but right now he's lost.
Let's do that, and let's also have a lot of serious talks. I think the way I'll do this is I'll clean like 2 or 3 rooms, and then I'll talk, and then 2 or 3 rooms, and talk. And none of that like sped up footage.
Great, so I'm going to skip a lot of this video, basically.
Crap. Like, you know what cleaning looks like. I'll just show you the before and after. So here is the before. Okay, so as you can see, I just revamped this room. Should be a lot easier to manage. Let's do maybe 2 more rooms, and then we'll talk. Alright, so as you can see and hear, this room is
I think we're about to get to
as
it.
Well. Now it's time to
if
do
I remember
one more.
correctly, it was right after he stops cleaning rooms and takes a break, and then he starts talking about fair use. So
I don't
should
think
be coming.
Having a messy house is your problem.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think you should clean up yourself, like you as a person. But I mean,
I agree.
You're starting in a good place.
I mean, that's what we all really have to do. We all have to clean up ourselves.
That's a good thing, I guess.
But
and I think we'll talk about copyright first.
I don't think everybody understands that.
We're going to talk about copyright first. So I don't need to watch like the Eugenia portion of this video. That's great.
Now that that is all sorted out, you know what, let me get a little bit further away from the camera. Okay, straight up, my history with copyright is
here we go.
Crazy one, really.
No shit.
And what I mean by this is I've been claimed countless times by countless people, like...
Right.
Yeah.
So you should know what you're doing is wrong then.
What he said right there is key. You should know what you're doing is wrong then, Greg. Come on. I know, not only you should know, I know you know what you're doing is wrong. Like, I know that you know. There's no doubt about it. And you're about to spew out a bunch of BS that I know you don't even believe. Because you're not stupid, Greg. And I know you're not stupid. And you'd have to be stupid to actually believe what's about to come out of your mouth.
Is that the end of the video?
People will look at my videos and they'll say, hey, this has my copyright material in it, and they'll hit me, and they'll hit me hard, unfortunately. And something I want you guys to understand is that when someone tries to copyright claim you, a lot of times right now they use a system called content IDs.
Yeah, as opposed...
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Content IDs. What's going on with that is they have some other third-party way of doing their copyright claims, and that third-party way is kind of automated for the most part, and it just searches for your content and finds it and copyrights it, regardless of if it's fair use or not. And that my opinion on that is that's not particularly horrible if you then are open to the disputes of people that say, hey, wait, this is fair use. And then you correct what's been done and maybe even apologize for it. I personally would not go that route, but there is a way where you could do it and it wouldn't be that horribly bad. Or you can manually copyright strike people, and that's what Onision's been doing.
It's to you when you manually claim my video, and then you make the decision to strike my channel, even though my content or my use of your content meets fair use law. And even then, even though you know that I'm in the right, even then when you know that I'm following the rules, the same rules that you follow, you strike my channel. It's amazing.
One of them, and I would appeal some of them and say, hey, I think this is fair use because I didn't use 100% of your creation. I didn't deter traffic from going to your site.
Do I deter?
You know, this is kind of funny. Those reasons that he's saying that he didn't use 100% of their material, he didn't deter traffic from going to their site. That is you got to look at the spirit of the language behind fair use and the judgments that have been made around it. The deterring of traffic is specifically when you take somebody's content and you claim it as your own and you put it up on your site, and then people go to your posting of someone else's content, view their content, and they get no traffic from their own content because you're providing their content to the world. Now, that is different. That is like, say somebody took a movie and they uploaded it to YouTube, which people do. And then now the movie studio's not getting the traffic when somebody goes and finds that movie and watches it on YouTube from somebody else who does get the traffic. And this happens quite a bit. It's not the same as somebody, like, for instance, me, taking this live stream of Mikenactors, putting the entire thing up, which I'm not going to do the entire thing, but if it was the entire thing was about fair use, I would, but the end of it's just kind of about, I guess, harassment that Onision thinks he's been enduring from someone. And I'm not really interested in that part of the video. So we probably won't go that deeply into it. But if I were to entirely stream this live stream and interject it with my own critical thought, I'm being transformative. I'm not relying on the content in its original format for what I'm actually doing. What I'm actually doing is critique. It's putting my opinion out there of what's been put out there by another content creator. It's that simple. It's the spirit behind what's being done. That's the whole reason why fair use exists, is so that dialogue and free speech has a way to occur without people getting litigious by taking it out of context as to why it's being used by maybe somebody else. So it's really, you got to look at the spirit of why fair use was even put into law, why it was even enacted. And it was so that people could not just copyright claim somebody's video or whatever it is that uses a portion of somebody else's material in a transformative way. The language surrounding fair use law has words like parody in it. You know, has words like educational use, has words like critiquing, which is pretty much parody. So it basically says that people have the right to use material of another person's in order to express what they've got to say about whatever's being said. It's that simple. It's the spirit behind it. And Onision is trying to disconnect himself from the spirit of fair use. And I'll tell you why I think he's doing it, or what I think the core reason of why he's doing it. He probably has a number of reasons, things he would actually say. But I'm talking like on a psychological level, what I believe the reason is. What I believe the reason is. And yeah, it's just my own belief, and I'm not saying I'm even right, but I am going to say what it is when we get to it.
People from going to Onision's channel, I suppose in a very detached way, I do.
See, that's the funny thing is, because Onision's got his panties in a wad, because he'll make a video and it won't get as many views as the people that are criticizing what he's saying in his video. And that has nothing to do with fair use. That just means that you're not getting your way. You're not getting the views from yourself and your words on your channel. Because maybe the people that are watching what you're saying, like me, watch it on other people's channels because they don't want to go on your channel and subscribe and support you because of all the shenanigans. They don't want to be a part of that. But yet they do want to be a part of talking and debating the things that you are putting out there into the universe. So therefore, it only makes logical sense that when a large group of people don't view things the way that you do, they may come across what you're saying through someone else's channel. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And really, all Onision's doing is throwing a fit about that and trying to justify it by skewing the initial spirit of what fair use actually is, because he's not getting his way.
I didn't trash you or anything. I wasn't hurting your business. I wasn't doing anything that basically affected your copyright whatsoever.
People don't.
You know what? Yeah, copyright is there for you to build a brand, for you to build who you are and have some protections from other people exploiting it, right? Or using it. I don't even know about using it to destroy you. Because, I mean, once you put it out there, I mean, anything can be used to destroy a person. That's what the news media does all the time. They take clips of things that people have done out of context, create a narrative, and put it on there to destroy a person. That's like what they do nowadays. So, sorry, Onision, that's what's being done to you. That you're creating content, nobody's really watching it from your channel, and then it's used against you. But that doesn't mean the people that are using it in that way are violating fair use. Just because that's what's happening is that you're basically your content is not really relevant unless it's somebody else saying why it's a bunch of BS.
You have to listen to me. If you don't agree with me on Onision, that's fine. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't agree.
That's right.
The fact of the matter is, that voice crack though.
It is fine.
The fact of the matter is that Greg can't be accountable for his behavior. He can't be accountable. He can't be accountable for the fact that he has ruined his career.
When did you last take the time to do nothing? And when I say nothing, I mean...
I'm going to talk about this for a second. His career ruined. I don't think so. I think that Greg can definitely rise from the ashes like a phoenix at any point in time. Like, he's very creative. He's very funny. He could find a way to do that. And I don't even think he really needs to apologize for anything that he's done in order for people to want to have something to do with him again. I really think the ball's in his court, Greg's court. really all he has to do is put his mind to using his audience that he still has, maybe a lot smaller now. He may be more irrelevant than he was back in the day, and recreating himself. I think that's what he would have to do. He'd have to recreate himself, because what he's doing now is tired. People don't, I'm tired. I'm not saying this as a criticism against him. It's tired because the audience isn't there for it. Maybe his content itself is tired, but I'm not really going to critique him on that, because, who am I to say that your content's tired when my content is constantly tired? People don't even watch it. That's how tired my content is. But what I'm saying is, he could totally reinvent himself, because he actually does still have eyes. Some of us never will even get the eyes to even have the opportunity to reinvent ourselves. Greg does have that. His career's not over. He could continue to decide not to utilize the eyes that he still has, and they could fall and fall and fall and fall and fall away, or they could the ones that he's got right now that are into what he's doing can stay, and it could just never grow. But he has an opportunity to grow way beyond what most people on YouTube have. So I don't think his career's over. It's just that he's going to have to reinvent himself in order to use the eyes that he still has to get going again, to jumpstart it basically, and to start it again.
Nothing. These days, we rarely give our minds a chance to rest, and as a result, we often feel
sorry
stressed,
about this.
overwhelmed by emotions, lost in thought almost half of our
I'm actually
waking
going
hours.
to turn this down so you don't have to listen to it, and I'll just talk over it for a second until it's done. But this is the thing about Greg. He got really popular, I believe, and like I said, I haven't really done a deep dive into his channel. I really only learned about who Greg was because I was a fan of Joy Sparkle BS, and then after she was gone, of Mikenactor. But from what I have seen through them and some other people, is that, and I have seen some of Onision's videos, is that he is very creative and funny. And I think if he went back to that, he'd do a lot better. And just stopped maybe doing his opinions.
He can't accept that.
His opinions and his speaking out. I think that's kind of what is hurting him. Like, if he just straight went into creativity mode and stopped with the opinions and the anything, the defensive videos and all this and that. Now, he's got some audience for it, but I don't think people really want to watch it as much as they do want to watch him do crazy stuff on the internet. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Just like people don't want to watch what I do on the internet. Maybe I could do something else that they would want to watch, but maybe I wouldn't be as into it. Maybe that's why Greg doesn't do as much of his funny stuff as he used to. Maybe he just did that for a while, had fun with it, but he's not as into it as he is expressing his opinions. But if that's the case, that's cool. But he's got to realize that comes with the repercussions, because maybe the audience isn't there for him expressing his opinions. And that's just the way it goes sometimes.
He's going to blame haters for ruining his career. And he's going to somehow justify his false copyright claims. I can't wait to hear his excuse. It's going to be great.
And it was, a review or otherwise a parody or something that would make it, reinventively entertaining. And of course, they would always say, no, it's...
Okay, so...
Right, so it sounds like Greg really does understand what fair use is, and he just has had experiences where YouTube system's so screwed up that even though he was justified in his use of other people's material for critiques or whatever he had to say about other people, and then they would copyright claim him, and then he would go at it and try to dispute it, and it didn't work out for him. That doesn't mean that the people that were doing it were right, Greg. It does not mean that. That's not, and I know you're smarter than believing that that's what it means. So therefore, I'm going to get into what what I think's going on with you, but
I think my videos fall under reinventively creative or entertaining. The different thing is like, yes, I will go through Onision's entire video and I will basically break down each and every part of it.
that's right.
But
He's
that is
thorough.
still fair use.
That is definitely fair
Because I'm
use.
transforming each and every element
Exactly,
of the video.
and it's about
discussing
what
each and every
you
element of the video.
have
That's
to
the
say.
whole point of it.
That's the whole point. Yes,
So
exactly.
if so,
and that doesn't take a lot of
if
brain
that's the
power
case,
to
Greg,
understand.
why did you send a Rexion's video when he only used a 4 or 5 second clip or a 30-second clip of your entire video?
That's a good
And
argument.
if that's the case,
why did
Greg,
you?
why did you claim one half of a 2-part video that covered one of your videos? I'm confused. I mean, your grasp
I'm
of
not
copyright
confused
law
because I understand
is
what
as good
Onision's
as your
doing.
grasp of
And I
consent,
understand why he's
as good as
doing
your
it.
grasp of
He's
legality.
I'll get to it, but
Sending
I'll give you a little
false
clue. He's
fucking
throwing a
cease and
fit.
desist order
That's what he's doing.
to Joy. Good God, what a riot! Hilarious.
Not fair use, and they would strike me down. When I say strike me down, I don't mean like copyright strike me, because that would only happen if I were to appeal it again. If, for instance, I did a TikTok video reaction and they claimed me, and I in response said, hey, this is fair use, and they said, no, it's not, and then I said, no, yes, it is, and they said, no, it's not, and then I finally again said, no, it is, I'm really mad about this. Then they could either give me 7 days to say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to appeal this, or 7 days to remove my video, or I would get a strike against my channel, my like whole YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what? When that happens, Greg, you know what you do? You realize that that person's a douchebag. And you move on. And they're being a douchebag with their wrong use of copyright claims. And you maybe, even if you're inclined, start a legal procedure about how they are harassing you with copyright strikes that are not real copyright strikes. And you take them to court if you really, really care about it. Or you just say, hey, this person's a douchebag. Every time I make a video on them, I lose money because they are copyright claiming me and being a douchebag. And then you don't, if it's all about the money, you don't make videos on that person anymore, right? That's what you do. Now, Mikenactor could do that because you're being a douchebag with his videos, doing copyright claims. He could do that. I don't think he's going to, because what he's got to say, I think, is the point. I think he's not. Maybe he is trying to make a buck off his content and what he believes about what you're saying. Nothing wrong with that. But, you know, like what I just said, he could choose to stop making those videos just like you could have when you encountered it. But your reaction to it is the problem, and I'll get into that in a moment.
Of which you've given me 3.
I was actually that
4, actually. Not counting the one that happened last year. So
confident in my comprehension of fair use. But unfortunately, I did some research on fair use, and it turns out that fair use is very gray. And what
ain't that the truth?
I mean by this is there have been cases, legal cases, where the judge will say this is actually not.
Yeah, fair use is one of those things where until it gets in front of a judge and they interpret their interpretation of fair use, you don't really know what fair use is, because it's just a law that can be interpreted in a court case. So it really comes down to people's actions and how they go about interacting with other people that use their content. Really, that's all it comes down to. Is like, it gives you a guideline for what it is, so you understand what it is, so that if you do get in court over it, there's a law there, and you can argue for that law, and the judge will tell you whether or not they believe you're right. That's really all it is. But you don't even need to go there if you just realize what fair use is and you just follow it. It's about freedom of speech. It's the whole reason why it exists. The whole reason why fair use exists is so that people can say what they've got to say about what's being said, so that they can do it without having the ramifications of legalities of other people suing them, because they know, well, it's not really legal for somebody to copyright strike something like this because it falls under fair use. I mean, so I can say what I've got to say. I can make money off of it because that's my gig. You know, you got to define what your own gig is in life. If you make it a gig about talking about what other people do and dissecting it like a movie critic or a YouTube critic or whatever it is, I mean, the sky's the limit. Then, and you can monetize it. Good on you. You're using your free speech to make money. That's awesome. That's what preachers do. That's what politicians do. That's what lawyers do. They use their ability to talk to make money. So they use their verbal acuity to make a dime. So that's really why fair use was created, so that basically there would be a standard. And that's the thing about it. There's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. So Greg's argument is going to be kind of trying to use the letter of the law, which doesn't work either. But he's definitely going against the spirit of the law. And if you stay in line with the spirit of the law, you really don't even have to ever worry about the letter of the law.
Fair use, because first of all, you don't necessarily have the rights to monetize something. Like, I can't
Yes, you do.
monetize those TikTok
That
videos.
is blatantly false. The only thing you don't have the right to monetize is somebody else's content when you post it as your own content. And I know there's a lot of people that don't believe what I'm saying is true, but you got to look at the spirit of it. You really do. And there have been lots of court cases where judges have said, hey, look, I mean, just look at the H2 court case where they took that douchebag's video of him doing parkour and had a lady and they made fun of him through the whole thing, and that was their video, and the dude tried to take him to court over it, and the judge said, hey, look, your feelings are hurt, but these people were using your content to say what they had to say. And that's pretty much what it was. The guy was a fool, and he was made a fool in court. Because it's the spirit that matters. The spirit, which is taking something that you think is ridiculous or you think is great and commenting on it. That's what we all have the right to do. And we have the right to make money off of it. Like H2H2 did.
Those, because they're not my original creation. I may be able to
that's
criticize them or
H3H2.
share my opinion on it.
H2H2.
It's not true at all. That is not true at all. Oh my god.
Them and so forth, but actually running ads next to them, that seems to be pretty debatable. And maybe that's what they were thinking when I appealed these cases where they copyright claim my videos. I would say, hey, this is fair use, and maybe their response was, yes, you can use it, but you can't profit.
See, now he's trying to give the people that did something douchey to him an excuse, like a legitimate excuse for why they did it, like that it makes sense and that it's even justified and right and that he was wrong. But the only reason why Onision is doing this is because he uses this logic to try to weave some sort of narrative as to why his doing of his copyright strikes on other people are justified when they are absolutely not justified. And Onision knows that. But he's trying to weave this tapestry with his words, and he's just not very good at it. Let's be honest, he's just not.
So where
so
is that
transparent what he's
actually
trying to
in the
do.
law, though, Greg? You're saying it's grey, and yet you're all about facts and statistics, right? So where is the actual line? Where is the actual, the honest truth of this? And if it's so grey, who are you to define fair use?
Because I would be using it. I would be using it fairly. I wasn't getting stricken for these things because I didn't push it so far where they'd be forced to strike me, or essentially voluntarily strike myself with how many appeals I would have had to file. But it's not necessarily fair monetization, you know, profiting off using someone else's content.
Exactly, bingo! Ding, 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 ding. Onision, you understand. You understand what fair use is. You just didn't like that you weren't getting your way. And I feel bad that you weren't getting your way with these people that were doing this to you on your videos. But that does not justify you to go out and do the same thing. Be like, oh, I guess I was wrong because these people do it to me. So now it gives me the right to go do it to other people. That's not the reality of the world, Onision, and you know that. I know you know that.
Whether or not I monetize something is entirely my decision, Greg. That's not your decision.
Very true. Entirely Mikenactor.
If my content meets fair use law,
which it does,
and I am critiquing something, that's what I do.
Exactly.
I have every right to monetize that. You don't get to decide whether or not I get to monetize my own content.
And Onision knows that.
And this still doesn't justify your actions either. So I hope you're getting to a point. I hope you're getting to a point.
That's a little bit more
he is, but it's
seems
stupid.
That fair use is most protected over educational content, and not so much just like commentary and parody and so.
Bullshit. The word parody is in the description of fair use. Bullshit, Onision. It's not more so for educational content. And you know what? This live stream of Mikenactors is educational. It's educating other people on fair use by using someone's illogical description of what fair use is.
Or like I've done.
So where is the proof of this, Greg? Where is the actual legislation? That's what I want to see.
There is none. Maybe a few
all about
judges
receipts,
here or
right?
there have
So
gotten
the
fair use
legislation?
wrong, but
That
that's
talks
all
about
it
how
is.
great fair use is.
Judges make stupid
I have a fair use disclaimer
judgments
in each
all
and
the
every
time.
one of my videos. Each one. In the description of my video, it shows the description of fair use. It does not say that I can't make money off the video.
No, it does not.
So if you can pull up the legislation that says that I can't monetize content that I've created, that I've spent time on, of which 80% is my own content.
That's right.
Right? I put out an hour and a half video. Literally 25% of that video is your content. The rest is my video. Right?
Alright, now I'm just going to give you a scenario here. Say I wasn't being shadow banned to where, like, nobody sees anything I ever do, except for maybe a few people that are actually looking for me and my content. And when I say few, I do mean few. And somehow, something of mine slipped through the crack, and people were like, wow, this Acoustic Steve-O guy, he's really got something to say about stuff, and it's really intriguing. And for some reason, I got an audience somehow. And I was able to monetize my channel somehow. And this Onision video, I'm going back through my back catalog, and I'm like making decisions on what I'm going to monetize and what I'm not going to monetize. This would be a video I would monetize for sure. Definitely. The only videos I would not monetize would be, like, say I cover someone's song and they own the copyright on their song for songwriting. Maybe I would monetize it, but I would definitely make sure that I paid them their portion of the copyright and did it the right way. Or anything like that, where I use somebody else's material and it's just straight up something they own. But using somebody's words their video, right? Of them doing a live stream or talking and making a video as your springboard for what you've got to say is not the same as fully straight up using somebody else's complete work like their song and playing it from beginning to end, like even a piece of a song. If I decided to like take a snippet of somebody else's song and put it in my own original song and make money off my own original song that has a piece of their song, yeah, I'd have to pay them for it, right? I would. But songs are different than commentary. Or say, for instance, I took a book and I just started reading the book on my channel, and I read like books, like from beginning to end, or even big chunks of a book, or a poem even, somebody else's poem, and read their poem. They own the rights to that. If I make money off of that, there's a way to pay them what they own, which is their material that they made. But it's not the same for a video, somebody else's video, unless you play it and it's the entire video and you're relying on what they're doing, their creativity, like straight up relying on their creative energy to produce whatever it is you're producing. Then you might think about the ethics behind it, like, you know what, the ethics behind it would be, you know what, maybe this person, their visual stuff they're doing, their whatever, their voice or whatever, whatever it is, if you could come up with an argument inside yourself that you could believe was really the reason why people were watching your video, and that it's not just you and what you've got to say, because that's why people are watching Mikenactor's videos, because they want to hear about what he's got to say, not because they want to hear about what Onision's got to say. They already could hear about that by going on Onision's channel, but they're not. They're going on Mikenactor's channel, and that's the reason why he's pissed.
And you think you can decide whether or not I get paid for that, and you think you can decide the grade that is fair use. It's astonishing to me how stupid you are. Anyway.
The question kind of becomes, like, what kind of content do you want to make? Do you want to just be the type of person who takes other people's content and comments on it?
See, now he's just trying to give digs. Like, what Mikenactor's doing is like lesser content because he's using other people's content to say what he's got to say about whatever it is he's got to say. I mean, that's a legit way. I mean, people do it all the time. Mainstream media does it. Whenever Donald Trump says something, they take it as what he says and they use that to then spin and say what they've got to say. And then they get views off of it and make tons of money. And Donald Trump doesn't get some kind of copyright claim because he went on camera and said something. And he might be the whole reason why the conversation's happening, but it's the conversation itself that people are tuning in to see. And that's the same thing that's going on here.
You don't get to decide that, Greg. You don't get to decide. You don't get to decide what I decide to do with my channel. This does not justify you abusing fair use.
Now, I would like to disagree with you, Mikenactor. It seems that he does get to decide. He does, because he gets to make these false copyright claims and do this douchebaggery, and then it does decide whether or not you're able to monetize things. So, that is YouTube's fault. That is YouTube's fault. And it's also this douchebag's fault, yes. But he does get to decide. If he gets to take the power of being a complete douchebag and use it until you actually take legal action against him. So, I mean, that's up to you. Maybe it's not worth your while, but until then, I'm sorry to say, Mikenactor, this douchebag does get to decide. But we, as viewers, also get to decide to talk about exactly what Onision's doing and why it's completely wrong and goes against the spirit of individuality, free speech, love, what it takes to transform humanity. Onision tries to act like he's trying to virtue signal all these things that he's trying to transform in society, but really he's very destructive by just how he's using YouTube's inept copyright system to go about doing things that are harmful to humanity.
One, and abusing copyright on YouTube. Such a broken system to begin with.
So
but
broken.
the fact that you
And it could be fixed too.
There's
That's
some
the sad
things
part
that
about
you can
it.
come back
It's not like
this is not one
it's
of
not
them.
like YouTube couldn't fix this, but it's CY. It's called Cover Your ASS. CYA. That's their policy. CYA. 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 And the sad part about it is they don't even really need to practice the CYA because they've already have protections that the government's given them as a platform. They don't even have, they can actually do editorial things, and they've been doing it on their platform, taking certain things off, leaving certain things on. You know, when one thing's doing the same thing as the other, but they have two differing political viewpoints, they choose to take content of one political viewpoint off while leaving content of the other on when they're doing the exact same thing. So they're practicing editorial decision-making all the time, but they're still defended by this stupid law that they're a platform. If they're a platform, they need to operate like a platform. And part of operating like a platform is giving the tools to be a platform. And one of the tools to being a platform is when somebody copyright strikes your material and you say, hey, look, this is fair use. Maybe you should side on the put the burden of making an argument that something isn't fair use on the person that is making the argument. Like say, hey, look, if you believe that this person isn't using your material with fair use and that they're actually doing a copyright infringement, you need to take that up outside the court, but we're going to leave it here because this is a platform. If you don't want to do that, I don't know what to tell you. I guess you got to let them keep using your material in a way that you think violates your copyright. But they're not doing it that way because they're trying to play a CYA game that they don't even really need to do. I'm sure they can figure it out. They just don't want to because this is easier. Not only that, but they can use it, I believe, as a weapon from allowing certain voices to get too big and to demonetize certain videos so that they can keep a certain echelon of creators where they're at, stagnated at a certain level. I really believe that that's what YouTube's doing and that it's intentional.
You've done a lot of shit. A lot of terrible things. But this is one thing that you cannot come back from.
I disagree, Mikenactor. I think he can come back from this because he's still got enough eyes on him that if he chooses to go in another direction with his content and it's something that people want to actually watch and view, he could come back, but it's going to take that. It's going to take him going in another direction because this one ain't working. Just like on my channel, everything I'm doing ain't working, but I don't have the luxury of having eyes, and I know I'm shadow banned, so my channel is always going to be this. If I continue to put stuff on it, it's always going to be this. Because I made a video with your and Onision's name in it, right now, maybe I'll get a little bit more views than I normally do, but not enough to actually pull myself out of a shadow ban, that's for sure. And I know the shadow ban's being done to bigger channels too, and it's affected them big time. But on a small channel, like mine, what it does is it means that I will never even have the opportunity to be heard, which means I've been depersoned. This channel has been depersoned. This Acoustic Stevo channel has been depersoned by YouTube. I guarantee it. If I ever had the money and the lawyers to prove it, maybe if there's a class action lawsuit, I really hope there becomes one, I want to join it, even as a small creator, because I can about guarantee that they've done something to my channel. I can about guarantee it. And not just me, quite a few of you guys too out there that can't seem to get any headway, even though their content actually is pretty decent. They actually have something decent to say. And you know that it's being done to you when you go around and you see the content that is being promoted. And you go back in the past and you see the content that did well. It was content that actually had something to say. But now content that actually has something to say, it's not going to do well unless it already has eyes. If it doesn't have eyes, it's going to be kept from getting eyes. And I know I just went on a kind of a tangent there, but so be it. Let's get back to this video, though.
Not really inspirational to you, or do you want to do something that's a lot more original and awesome that can never be copyright claimed?
Wow, Greg. Are you talking about yourself?
So what Greg's saying is only do original content, and that's the only way that you should ever make money off of it, is if everything that you have that in your content is yours, which I can agree with on a certain level when it comes to like music, other people's writing or poetry. But actually critiquing somebody who puts their stuff out there on video, that's a different story entirely. It really is. These fair use laws were written back in the 70s, all right? They might need an update, maybe a clarification. Maybe we'll find out that if somebody puts a video out and it's got their image and their likelihood and their voice and everything about them in it, that makes it their content, and for you to actually take it like a movie from MGM and use big chunks of it actually does violate fair use because there's so much of them in it that people think that's why anybody's watching it. Maybe so, but it definitely needs to be redefined because that's not the way it is right now.
Oh, you're so entitled. You know what? Everyone else, you know what? Everyone else is just using each other's content. But me, I create original content, right? Hilarious.
That's BS in
Hilarious.
itself. Onision
sense of
doesn't
entitlement.
just create original content. He doesn't.
It takes to lecture me and lecture other creators for doing the things that he has done on Onision's.
And
He's taken
he will
other
do
people's
again,
content.
I guarantee
He's
it.
even used my content in a now deleted video.
Exactly.
So funny to me that he can be so like so much self-awareness. Oh, the nonsense though.
He thinks he understands copyright law
And the
and
second
fair
option actually
use.
sounds a lot
Like, he
better.
thinks he grasps it.
Great.
But you know what, Onision,
Go.
even if you did grasp it, you know what you're doing with the law. Not every law is a good law. Not every law is right. The spirit behind it, the spirit behind fair use, is that you're able to use other things to get your voice out. Freedom of speech is the whole reason. And that's what Mikenactor's doing. And you know it. You're just being shitty and trying to think that you know the loopholes to get around being shitty. But you don't. You're even wrong about that.
Do it. Subjectively, second option sounds much more great to me. Then go and do it, Greg. Go fucking do it, and I'll do my own thing. Which is critique other YouTubers. That's what I do on my channel. That fair use is great, guys.
Kind of depressing to put a lot of work into something and then just have it claimed, and then you're like, well, crap, they kind of had the right to claim it. Unless
That's wrong. That's wrong. Well, crap, they kind of had the right to claim it. He doesn't believe that in his heart. You can hear it in his voice when he says it. If you know anything about analyzing people and listening to what they say and finding out if what they're saying is really true or if there's an agenda behind what they're saying, you will come to see that Onision is being disingenuous. He doesn't even believe what he just said there. He doesn't believe that they kind of have the right to do it. No, he's trying to excuse himself so that he kind of has the right to do it. But he doesn't. And furthermore, I'm going to get into what I was keeping myself from saying with his reason why he's doing this now. All right? This is why I think Onision's doing it. And I've kind of pieced it together, but I'm going to straightforward say it now. Onision is throwing a fit. He tried to do fair use in a proper way, and the system didn't work for him because the system is broken. So therefore, he said, well, fine. If I can't do it, then why should other people be able to do it with my content? And like a little brat, instead of having integrity, he chose to go down the road of all the other douchebags that were doing it to him. And that's all it is. He's throwing a fit. He's throwing a complete fit, and he knows it. He knows it. But he's trying to create the illusion that that's not what it is. That he has actually been wrong about what his use of fair use, and now he's understands it better, and he's trying to get all you to believe his illusion that he doesn't even believe.
Except you don't have the right to claim it, right? You don't. Because it's fair use. You can claim it. Sure, go for it. But there's a difference. There's a difference. If I was uploading your videos in full without
you could also get a lawyer,
Mikenactor, in any way, you would be entirely justified to strike my channel.
Which sucks.
But because that is not the
probably
case,
not even be worth doing.
You are breaking YouTube's guidelines.
Now, he's right about that. Even though YouTube is acting in a way where they're letting these copyright strikes go through, in their guidelines, it's still, they say you're not allowed to inappropriately copyright strike people, and that you can have your channel terminated because of it. So Mikenactor's correct about that. YouTube just doesn't choose to go down that route, pretty much ever.
Good God, mate. I love the blue filter you put on this video too. Am I supposed to be intimidated? I don't know. I have no idea.
Or someone to spend thousands of dollars on a lawyer and then go to court and then try to explain to them how I, with my limited knowledge of fair use, am somehow justified when it's simply not that simple. Like, for instance, there's this case.
You sound like you got a fairly good concept, wrapped your mind fairly well around fair use there, Greg. You realize that it probably wouldn't be worth your while, and you're taking a chance on whether or not a judge will agree with you. But that judge agreeing with you doesn't mean that you don't understand what fair use is. It just means the judge could be wrong and choose to be stupid and to take someone's rights away. And they could. That's part of living in this shit system. It's part of the reason why I'm an anarchist, because it's ridiculous. But the spirit behind it, you fully understand that. And it becomes a karmic thing at that point, Greg. It really does. It becomes a karmic thing where you're doing something that you know is wrong, and you're using other people's justifications to justify your wrong action. And that's the real problem here. And that's a concern, Greg, because you don't have to do that. You can actually turn into a mature person with integrity at any point in time. And I would advise you to do so. It'd probably be to your benefit. Not just financially, maybe not even at all financially, but definitely spiritually.
Case where somebody was like making Disney grotesque, like they were making very, very gore versions of Mickey Mouse and so forth, and the judge decided that it wasn't fair use because obviously you drawing.
Yes, that judge decided in that case. That doesn't mean the judge was right. You know, if you take Mickey Mouse and you're creating art and you put vampire teeth on him or whatever, blood coming out, a machete in his hand and a bloody decapitated head in the other, that is what Andy Warhol was doing when he used freaking pop culture to create his art. And that judge was wrong. That's simply the fact.
For Mickey Mouse, and I guess maybe they were profiting off of it. That doesn't help out Disney in any way. In
Why
fact,
does it
only
need to
hurts
help out Disney? The whole reason why it was created was not to help out Disney. It was
Okay,
using
so
iconic imagery
Where is the
to create
transcript
art.
of this? What case is this? Where does
Yeah,
this
what
come
case
from,
is that?
Greg?
Even if it is a case,
can't just-
it was wrong. That judge made a wrong decision. I don't care. I mean, it was wrong. It was wrong. You can use pop culture to do lots of things, and it's free speech. You can make cartoon characters do some pretty nasty, wrong things. And it's fair use. It really is. It's freedom of speech. I mean, it's sad, but as long as nobody's really breaking the law with what they're doing, it's just what it is. Move on. Don't consume the content. If they make money off of it, that's on them. They're possibly doing something that is despicable, but hey, they have the right to. It's freedom of speech.
Pull cases out of your ass and just say, here's an example of when a judge said no. Fair use is great.
All right. This is an example of when the judge got it wrong.
The difference being is that Disney didn't destroy their own reputation before some random person did gore pictures of them. And I think there's an
No,
argument
that's not
to be
even the
made
difference.
about art
Like,
in
I'm
general.
sorry, like-
because I've seen Mickey Mouse in art before.
Yeah, that's not even it. I mean, if you're using Mickey Mouse and you're depicting him as Disney, like you're saying your stuff is Disney and selling it as Disney, that's one thing. That is not fair use. That is not art. Art is transformative. As soon as you take Mickey Mouse and say something using him as an icon, that becomes art. As long as you're not trying to use Mickey Mouse and pass it off as Disney and profit off of it as if it is Disney when it's not, you're cool. Regardless of what a judge says and their judgment. Because judges don't have good judgment all the time. That is very apparent. Very, very apparent.
And you can't just selectively weaponize the YouTube copyright
Yes, he
system
can. He's
because
been
you don't
doing
like
it.
someone's
He
opinion
can because
on
YouTube
you.
allows it.
That's selective. That's targeted.
Yep, it is. And YouTube says
It's
you
predatory.
can't, but
It's the
they
same-
allow it.
Would be the same case, in my opinion, with Disney going after that artist. That is predatory.
Yeah, it is. You don't
I
go
wouldn't say
after
predatory.
somebody's
I think
art.
that's the wrong word.
That's ridiculous.
It's harassment. You know, they're
It
going
is.
after someone, you know, that's creating art, right? You can create art of anything.
That's right. I'm creating
It's
art
about
right
how
now.
much you transform it.
This isn't just a discussion. This is art.
Anyway.
I'm using things,
When you have
transforming it.
something
As
that
soon as you do
created
that,
people
it's
are
art.
just perverting and turning into something like horrifying, especially children's cartoons and so forth. You can kind of
Yeah, you
That
can pervert
he's
children's
using this analogy
cartoons.
that could
You
may
don't
or may
have to
not
pay
be
copyright
like,
to
completely
do that.
fabricated.
That's not really good, but that is
Like this
fair
example
use.
he's using may not
You're not
have even
passing it
happened,
off as
'cause
Disney
he's
at
not
that
showing,
point.
like a transcript or anything.
You're
'cause
not selling
a lot
it
of
as
transcripts
Disney.
are public knowledge, right? So he could probably bring that up.
You're selling it to a
and,
totally
you know,
different
justify
audience
his position.
who may or
But
may
he's
not
not doing that,
have a
because this
Disney
is subjective.
fetish. Who knows? So maybe you're
He's
using
the
the
judge,
iconic
right, in this
the iconic
scenario.
imagery to sell
Judge,
your
jury, and
product,
executioner.
but that doesn't mean
He's
that
deciding which
what you're
content
selling
about
isn't
him
your product.
is fair use. And he is deciding who can make money off him and who may not make money off him.
see how the judge would be like, no, you're actually just being a jerk and you're trying to hurt Disney, or so it seems.
So what?
No, it's not fair use.
But at the end of the day, you don't get to decide that, Greg.
No,
Are you a judge?
that would be a freaking
Are you
nightmare.
a judge? I didn't know. You're very young to be a judge. You're very old to be a YouTuber, but you're very young to be a judge.
Yeah, I'm old to be a YouTuber as well.
like a lot of people don't understand, good faith is a huge...
is in the fair use statute. So if you go into fair use of copyright law, critique is one of those statutes. You don't have to like my opinion. It's not selective. It's not subjective. It's critique. That's how you can classify me making videos about you in any way you like.
That's right. It's
Right.
just your subjective
You can call it
classification.
harassment or stalking.
Exactly.
It's all subjective. So it's kind of like Disney copy striking people that are critiquing Captain Marvel. It's the same thing. It's an abuse of copyright law.
Yes, it is.
Unless they're re-uploading the entire clip,
There you go. Bingo.
it's an abuse of copyright law.
If someone knows that you have good intentions when you use someone's content, then you're going to be way better off in court.
Are you
Well,
trying
duh.
to?
That's because judges are
What do you say?
moralistic beings.
Are you trying to say that I don't have good intentions, Greg? That I'm just doing this willy-nilly, you know, because I just want to be a dick?
That doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means judges are moralistic beings.
Well, I mean, not the case. The reason being is that I love breaking down YouTube videos. That's what I love doing. It's not personal. It's just you're a gold mine. You're an absolute gold mine
That's for sure.
when it comes to content that is just rubbish. And that's my opinion. I can have it.
Oh, that's for sure.
This video is fair use. Like this live stream is fair use.
Yep.
Because I'm stopping your video.
And this
I'm
live
talking
stream
about
is
what you're
fair
saying,
use.
right? I'm talking about
And that's
what
the
you're saying.
artistic part of that. I'm
I don't have
creating
to
a
justify
like
that.
tunnel of fair use upon fair use.
And you don't get to decide what is or isn't fair use.
So that'd be cool if somebody else took this live stream and did another video on top of it, and then it'd be fair use on fair use on fair
Most likely,
use.
just based
That
on
would be
whatever
really
search.
cool,
Then
actually.
say somebody who just wants to make Disney look terrible.
I don't make you look terrible, Greg. I talk about the things you say and the things you do. You make yourself look terrible.
Even if you did make it
Get
look
it through your
terrible,
thick
it
skull.
has nothing to do with fair use.
How do you not see this already? You moron. People don't make you look bad. You make yourself look bad. Do you realize that? You want low-hanging fruit. I mean, you are. But it's not like people are just like, oh, we're just going to go after Onision because he's Onision.
Right.
No. You have nearly an 11-year history of being
Not only
just
that, you know what?
such a
A
dick.
lot of people, including me, who are criticizing what you're saying, Onision, and what you're doing, really wish you the best. Like, want to see you be a happy, fulfilled person, happy, fulfilled life, with happy, fulfilled children, happy, fulfilled partner, have all the best in the world, and go out into the world and help make it a better place. But if you're acting in a way that doesn't line up with that, we're gonna say something about it. Especially when it has to do with free speech. I'll probably leave you alone about everything else. I could care less about if you go on the internet and point out people that are hot, that are your fans, and that send you pictures. All that, to me, I actually find kind of intriguing. You're experimenting with the boundaries, which is something I like to do. But when you go against free speech, you're going to hear from people like me.
To almost everyone that you've come into contact with. Pretty much everyone. You've alienated pretty much everyone that you've collabed with. Pretty much. Anyone that you've associated with publicly.
Ready? Yes, just do it!
Alright, I'm going to turn this friggin' commercial down and just talk a little bit till the show starts back up again. But, you know, I kind of want to go into this a little bit about Onision. His redemption and actually wanting to see it. Like, that would be so cool if Onision were able to get off this track, and even if he has to do this track for the rest of his life, that's on him. It's not really that big of a deal. It's not really hurting anybody or anything when it comes down to it. People are going to talk to it as if it's bullshit because it is, but it's really not that bad. It's really not. There's a lot worse going on than Onision. But I would like to see Onision like have an epiphany, like a real epiphany, and live up to his potential, because I think he has a lot of potential. I think he's got an audience. First off, that's a good thing. Anytime anyone has an audience, that's a good thing, because then they have the potential of being a mouthpiece for truth. And they may be misaligned to that potential, as Onision certainly is, but at any point in time, they can become realigned with the truth. And guess what? Now they have an audience. That's great. No matter how that audience was built, now at least they have one. Someone like me, I probably will never have an audience, and I'm okay with that. And I'm not talking negative things about myself into the universe. I'm just saying, like, karmically speaking even, that may be my lot in life, and I'm okay with that. Because I have looked at I'm an astrologer, and I have looked at my astrological chart and kind of understand why people don't really want to interact with my content. It makes a lot of sense to me karmically. So, I mean, maybe I'll overcome it. I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world either. Because this content that nobody's watching now, possibly in the future, people could look back at it and be like, wow, there's something there. And it's just the now, that gratification of getting views that I'm not supposed to be allowed to get, which is fine. I don't care. Whatever. I'm going to keep going at it. Maybe eventually I'll have worked through my karma enough that what I'm saying will be able to break through the barrier that is in my life and part of my karma, I believe. But until then, it's not that big of a deal. Onision's got the audience. That's awesome. And he's not really that far away from making a breakthrough, so I really hope he does.
Technically, that is fake news. I don't need your permission to comment on what you say publicly.
Definitely not.
I don't have to ask for your permission. And you don't get to decide whether or not I monetize my content.
That's right. If I ever get monetization, this might be the very first video I monetize. Just
your
for
content in my content is made up of
integrity's
25% in most cases. I'm very confused at whether or not... See, like, there's a smirk on his face through this entire video. So I feel like he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he
like,
does.
There's no way
he
can't
does know what he's doing.
He's either insane and delusional, or...
No, he's not.
So why would he need to follow the rules?
It's like this is what he's doing, all right? You could pass a lie detector test, and the only thing you have to do to pass the lie detector test is to make yourself believe the lie. And Onision, I think, is very adept at having that skill. I have that skill. I've passed lie detector tests. When I was in elementary school, I was brought in with another group, a small group of students. It was take your kids to work day, and they kind of like let us go with some of the other kids that parents were participating that didn't have parents that were participating. So I went along with one of the girls from my class whose father was a police officer. He brought us in and hooked us all up to a lie detector, and we got to try to see if we could pull the lie detector, and I actually was able to pull the lie detector. And I understood the psychology of how to do it before I even attempted it. Somehow, naturally, I understood. All you got to do is make yourself believe the lie, and that's not really hard to do because we make ourselves believe lies every day. So that's all Onision's doing, is he's attempting to make himself believe the lie. But I think he's going to fail at it. I don't think he's going to really, in the long term, be able to make himself believe this lie. As a matter of fact, I don't think he even believes it while he's trying to make himself believe it, if that makes any sense. And you can hear it in his voice when he says the lie. Every time he says the lie, listen to Onision's voice. You'll hear a little bit of inauthenticity. And that's how you know that he doesn't really even believe it.
He's got nothing to lose. He's got a channel with 1.6 million subscribers and a few other channels. And on average, he's getting 10,000 to 20,000 views per video. He's done. And he wants to take a bunch of people down with it. But I have to tell you, Greg, it's not going to happen. It's not going to.
Greg, if you ever watch this video, which I don't think you will, but who knows, I have some advice for you. And that's, I know, kind of funny coming from somebody with 230-something subscribers. But I have some advice for you that if I were in your shoes, I would try. All your virtue signaling is not working. So many other people are doing it. It's played out. It's tired. It's old. Find something real in this world to talk about. Something real. You have the audience to do it. Not only that, it might just be it. I mean, you could try it. Maybe it won't work. But find something real to talk about. Something that you've actually invested yourself in real belief that you can actually point to where you don't end up sounding ridiculous because your arguments are coming from a place that you really believe in. Not from some constructed virtue signal, but from something you actually believe. Find something that someone's doing online that's atrocious. And it's not hard to see how it's atrocious. And that it actually gets that anger in you going in a real justified manner. Make some videos about that. We're not talking Jacqueline Glenn's decision to get fake boobs. Find something real. We're not talking about imagined pedophilia of Shane Dawson. We're talking something real, Onision. Something that's really going on in this world. You know, like, for instance, maybe this doesn't bother you, but the fact that we are constantly making contracts and bolstering contracts between our biggest weapons manufacturers and Saudi Arabia. And then they go and use our weapons with our name stamped on them down in Yemen in a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And that these weapons are being used to kill innocent civilians and children all the time. And that the mainstream media never talks about it. That's something real. You could really do something with that. That would be awesome.
Happen, mate. You can be rest assured it's not going to happen. And you doing these false claims has sealed your fate. You are fucked, mate. Completely fucked. You're done. It's all downhill from here. And no, that's not a threat.
And make their cartoon.
Sorry, I'm such a call out Doll Superboy. I'm agreeing with you while I clean. You're cleaning up like Onision.
Look terrible and just make people depressed. You know, like nobody really wants to see that except for twisted minds and people with sick sense of humor.
Or people that just don't care. I don't think I could give a fuck about your feelings, Greg. I really could. All I care about is, what is the law? You're not showing any legislation in this video. You still haven't proving to me
No, it isn't. It's all his
that
opinion.
I can't do what I'm doing.
It's all he's trying to, and it's
So
not even
unless
his
you
opinion.
can,
I know
you
it's not.
Sift out some,
He's trying
some
to-
primary colors from all this
He's
gray.
trying to virtue signal his despicable acts of copyright strikes on creators, other creators. Like, he has no integrity there. Like, it's a total wrong thing to do. Mikenactor doesn't think he can come back from it. I do. But it is wrong. I mean, I don't even think he needs to own up to the fact that it's wrong. Maybe he should just stop doing it and stop trying to justify it. That would be a big step in the right direction right there.
You can get fucked. Where's the color? Oh no, it's all grey. Get fucked.
So me, occasionally. I do have a twisted sense of humor. But overall, like with these cases where people copyright claim me, I've just kind of let it go. I've decided to make content that is just better and more.
It's just better. You should just make content like me, Mike.
You know, I'm almost tempted to subscribe to Onision's
That's
channel
better.
so I can
That's
find
just
out
let
if
it
his
go.
content's better or not. Because right now I just have to take his word for it. Maybe it is.
I've made other content.
I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious if
But you should hide
Onision's
my
content is good.
algorithmically.
Because I did explore his
Talk
channel
about
at one point and just
primary
decide
figures
not to
on YouTube.
subscribe because of all the shenanigans,
That's-
and
YouTube-
the
that's what
content
YouTube
wasn't
wants.
worth it. If I
What the YouTube algorithm
wanted to watch a
knows.
video, I could just
They
go
love
to his
habits.
channel and watch it. I didn't
That's
have to
what
be
it
a
is.
subscriber. But
I'm
now
trying to
I'm
inject,
curious. I
would
kind of want to
suppose,
subscribe and
a
hit
more
the bell and see what
productive,
Onision's
intelligent
got to
conversation
offer to find
in
out
some
if
of
it
this
is
stuff.
better.
My earlier videos,
highly doubt it.
not so much.
Not with videos like this coming out
A
about
lot of testing the waters
frickin'
to see what I want
copyright.
my content to be. But at the moment, what my channel is about is having a mature conversation. You know, it's not about ending people or canceling people or being.
That's what I like about Mikenactor, is it really is about him just, and when he says mature, I agree. His conversation is coming from something at a very mature viewpoint. You know, it's letting all the BS go out and just looking at what's really going on, like, and then speaking to what's really going on, and that's why I enjoy his content.
The part of cancel culture, I've been fervently against all of that. I don't
Yeah,
think,
cancel
I
culture
literally
is
just made a video
ridiculous.
about social reporters saying, you know, wow, I really don't condone what you did, but you deserve a second chance. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to grow and find
Everybody
happiness.
deserves a
All this
second
other shit.
chance.
But you know,
I mean, that's what we're gonna get, regardless of if we
you can't
deserve it or
concede
not.
the idea.
That's part of what life
that maybe
is.
someone is
Us
just
finding out
critiquing you.
how we're wrong and going a different direction.
All it
Everybody
is
has to
critique.
deal with that. That's the human condition.
You've ruined your own career. Just to be clear, no one else has ruined your career for you. No one asked you to rate the bodies of underage girls, or even just your fans. The fact that you rated your fans and got them to write your name on their bodies, like, even that is just like, what?
You know what? That might be what, but I don't mind that content. I really don't. It's like, in my opinion, it's creative. He's doing something that other people aren't doing. It's ballsy. As long as he doesn't get real creepy. I guess the whole thing was that some of these people were underage. Yeah, that is kind of laying it on thick with the creep factor, but even that, yeah, I think he did kind of pop the barrier there, so to speak. But you know what, whatever. He didn't do anything, like, horribly bad. He's not trying to get with these girls. He just wasn't using the best judgment. I'll just put it that way.
Fun for me to make, because I really don't think anyone deep down, they may on the surface be cool with it, but deep down I don't think anyone wants to see someone just whine and complain all the time.
Apart from all my subscribers, right? Okay. I love how my critique is suddenly whining and complaining.
About all of their copyright issues, which is why I haven't made video after video after video complaining. I'm sure I've complained it.
You know what, Greg? There's probably other reasons why you haven't made video after video after video complaining. There's probably some other reason that you're not telling us. I don't think it's the reason that it's just complaining and people don't want to hear it. Because you do lots of things that people don't want to hear, including complaining.
One point or another, but that was like years ago. No, I think you guys would be much happier if you just like saw new content from me that was enjoyable and not just me cursing the name of all of the music companies and all the TikTok associated companies and even Brittany Louise Taylor. I don't mean to name drop, I'm not trying to be negative towards Brittany Louise Taylor, but I did a comment.
No, you just called one of her best friends a pedophile, but that's okay. I'm sure Brittany Louise Taylor thinks very highly of you. Dude, I'm not trying to badmouth Brittany Louise Taylor. You called one of her friends a pedophile.
I'm getting ready to end this video in about 10 minutes.
This is weird emotional
because we're
disconnect.
getting
He just
towards the
doesn't
end of
get
the
it.
copyright stuff anyways, and I'm
Brittany
coming
Louise
to a
Taylor,
good place to
and she
end.
copyrighted me, and
So-
I didn't make a huge deal over it because
If anyone's in
Copyright
here,
you
I
because you're an asshole. I'm not
appreciate
saying
you
that
coming
that's
in.
the right thing or what she should have done.
I appreciate you saying hi if you said hi. I hope you guys are all
But you
having a
can't
good
really
day.
go after her for weaponizing copyright.
But I
system.
think
you're going to do the same.
I've really heard enough. I've heard enough. This is my second time through the video. I think you've probably heard enough. I think I've made my point. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I'm so passionate about this stuff. Like, what it is. Because I know it's not the norm. I know that I'm not in the norm. Not only that, it's very apparent, even in my own personal life, that I can be a little bit much with this stuff, and people tell me as much, you know, because I really am impassioned about free speech and Second Amendment, our Bill of Rights in general, and I'm really impassioned about how they've been walked over and trampled on, and how the general public just kind of accepts it and rolls over. And it does concern me for the future of humanity and the agenda that I believe that a lot of people that are trying to pull the strings, so to speak, are trying to make come to fruition. I call it the Beast Agenda, the 666 Mark of the Beast Agenda. I don't want that to manifest, and it doesn't have to manifest. But I definitely believe that it's trying to be manifested. And I believe taking away our Bill of Rights is definitely the first step, because the Americans are the problem. They're the thing standing in the way from the Beast Agenda actually coming tomorrow to a theater near you. Alright? Americans are. People like me. People that own guns. That know it's their right to own a gun so that they can fight tyranny if it ever comes to their doorstep. People that know how important the freedom of speech is, and that want everyone to have it regardless of what they have to say, so that I can rebut the stupidity of what they may have to say. Alright? I am very impassioned about this stuff. And, you know, I recently became an anarchist, and I'm still sorting out exactly what that means. But I definitely don't think government is the answer to any of our problems on this earth. The only answer is for the general population to have had enough and to have said enough is enough with this behavior or that behavior. It's wrong and immoral, and we're going to choose to instill better values into our children and our society. And we're going to actively go out into our society and actively talk to our children about these things so that we can create a better society to come. That's really the only answer. It isn't to look into the government to come up with some new programs to fix everything. That's not going to happen. We have to treat each other better. We have to look for ways to become more involved in our own communities. We have to find ways to make each other feel better about who we are, to basically fight the bad self-esteems that a lot of us have, you know? Because we've been made to feel like our voices don't matter. Like, there are authorities, and those authorities, with their degrees, or with their expertise are the ones that we should look to for the answers, and they're not. You should look inside yourself. I guarantee you the answers are there. I guarantee it. And it comes back to integrity. If you live in integrity, your life's not going to be easy, but your life isn't meant to be easy. It really isn't. You were not manifested into your reality to have an easy, cush life. And for that to be the goal of your life, and I've been guilty of it, that is not in alignment with what you're truly here for. And what you're truly here for is to express exactly who you are to everyone all the time. It's that simple. Express exactly who you are to everyone all the time, and you're doing your job on earth, regardless of what you might be doing with your actual career, unless you have a career that is not good for humanity. And there are a lot of those these days, and there's an argument being put out there by other anarchists that if you are involved in one of those careers, that you're evil and despicable, that you don't have any hope, and that you are going against humanity. I don't even know if I ascribe to that. I'm still kind of struggling with adopting that just because other people believe that to be true. Other people that I respect do believe that to be true. But I believe in redemption so hardcore that I believe that even if somebody is in the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing with their life, even to the extreme, that they can in a moment come to a point where they've realized what they're doing is wrong, and then start to do what's right and rebuild their life. Anyone can do that at any point in time, and that's not really my thing that I can do. So for me to pass a moral judgment on where they've put themselves in their life, I'm not going to do it, because it's energy that I don't need to take on, basically. There's enough other things that are around me that I can deal with and maybe have some kind of hand in changing, that I'll invest my energy in those things and those people. And maybe some of those people that are doing the wrong thing right now might go, hey, this guy, at least he'll listen to me, have some sort of empathy with how I got myself here, and be there for me as I pull myself out. That's what I want to be, all right? Because the only way that we can change the trajectory of humankind is for us, each one of us, to internally have had enough and to start to work on ourselves. That's the only way. It only can begin with work on yourselves. You can't work on anyone else until you have transformed yourself. And I'm in the process of that. I'm not like anywhere near the end of that process. As a matter of fact, I might be going through that process for the entirety of my life. Thankfully, I'm blessed to have actually discovered that that's what it's about, and to have started on that journey. And now I know that's really the only journey out there. I believe when Jesus said, that He's the way, the truth, and the life, that no one can come to the Father but through Him. Now, of course, I don't believe in the Father. I'm making air quotes, except for I'm not. I'm doing it mentally, because I got to keep my hands on the wheel. But, I think what He's saying there is only by being yourself and living the actual truth of integrity, which is what Jesus was doing, in every moment can you be actually transformed into a being that is ready to go to wherever it is for the next step beyond what we're doing right now in 3D reality. I know what I just said is a mouthful, but I really do believe that's what Jesus was saying. I don't think He was saying, here, I'm going to give you a bunch of new laws, and unless you follow those and you do some magic formulaic thing where you accept me into your heart, and now you're saved and you can go to heaven, is the only way that you're going to make it into the Father's presence. No, it's deeper than that, people. It's about actually finding integrity and living integrity. And it's as simple as that. It's finding the integrity to live the truth no matter what comes at you, up to and including death and torture. And that sucks. I don't know, I don't understand why that's the predicament that we've been put in, but it definitely is. And you know what? I'm pretty blessed that I'm not having to face death and torture right now. Maybe I will in the future, and when it comes, so be it. But for right now, it's not my reality, and I'm very thankful for that. And I think a lot of the reason why it's not my reality is our Bill of Rights. So I do look at America as a lighthouse, you know, shining the light to where maybe humanity should go. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about the United States government. I'm talking about our citizens, our values concerning our freedoms, our individualistic nature, our community nature, our want and need to build a better society, for the most part, as adult humans in America. And we're pretty strong in all that. I'd say more so than a lot of other places on this earth. Because we've been given the gift. If you were born in America, you've won the lottery. Of anywhere else to manifest, I can't think of a better place. We have a job to do because that's the truth of the matter. We have to make sure that we don't let the darkness come, and that where the darkness is, we keep shining that light that we've been blessed to have everywhere we go. As long as we do that, we're going to be fine. And if we're not, then that's just what has to be. We might have to really, really, really fight evil at some point. Just like our recent ancestors did when they went over and fought Nazis. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that maybe we can evolve beyond that, and we won't have to see something like that. And that's what I'm going towards, and a lot of the other people in the freedom movement are going towards, thankfully. No, we don't have people shouting for government revolt or citizen revolt against the government to, violently overthrow them. Thank God at this point. I don't think we need it at this point. But there's lots of things that are concerning, and those are the things that I'm going to speak to. But right now, I am where I was supposed to be, so I'm going to end this live stream. I just want to thank everyone for coming in. Acoustic Stevo, out. Maybe. There we go.